Hey everyone, I'm Mind, and this is set number 71810, Young Dragon Riyu from the March 2024 Ninjago Dragons Rising wave. This set contains 132 pieces, 3 minifigures, and will retail for $16.99 in the US. This set, of course, does not officially release until March 1st, 2024, but it was gifted to me early for review by the LEGO group through the LEGO Ambassador Network, but all opinions expressed in this video are my own. I'm reviewing all of the March 2024 Ninjago sets early right now. In fact, I already have at least one other up on the channel, so go check out the playlist in the description and in the pinned comment if you want to see more. And also make sure to let me know in the comments of this video which set you want to see an early review on next. If you're enjoying this kind of content and you want to see more, liking and subscribing does so much to help support my channel. So thank you all very much for your support, and now let's get into the video. So here's the build of this set, and of course it's a larger version of Riyu, the dragon from the first season of Dragons Rising. In the first wave of sets he was a single piece, he looked like this, but now he's become significantly bigger. This guy, by the way, does not come in this set, I'm just showing you him as a comparison, just so you could see how he changed. But yeah, Ryu's a lot bigger now and he's entirely brick built too, rather than just being one molded piece. And this is a set that I absolutely love. I do have some criticisms, which we will get to in a moment, but I think it's amazing that this guy comes in such a cheap set. He's not like a side build in a bigger set. Because Riyu is more than just a dragon, he's an actual character in this show. So the fact that you get this new bigger version of him plus 2 of the main characters of the show for $16, that's really amazing to me. Not to mention a villain as well, though we'll get to him in a moment. Taking the minifigures off of the top of the build too, I think there's a ton of personality in this guy. The head connects on a mini ball joint so you can make him look around, get more emotion out of him. And each of his legs connect on mini ball joints too, and the feet can also be moved separately. So there's lots of different poses you can get from him, especially because he is such a small build too. It's very easy to pose him without him being too heavy. The head for Riyu is an all-new molded part for this set, and I'd be surprised if it's ever used anywhere else. It is reminiscent of the younger version's head. He has like the scales at the top that sort of cascade down, and still that vibrant green eye, but now instead of just 4 of these little blue spots, there's lots more. And this color yellow is introduced, which wasn't on the original Riyu, which I assume is going to tie into his elemental power in some way, assuming he has one, but most dragons do. I have a feeling they're building up to something with Riyu. The legs are very similar. Now the head is a print, but the legs are stickered pieces. That's a little unfortunate because it is 4 of the same design, so it would have been really cool if that was a print, but them being stickered isn't the biggest deal. But yeah, on the original figure, he just had a couple spots in those places, but now they've bloomed into an almost flower-like shape. And while the dark blue's still there, there's yellow on the ends. Ryu's tail is in 2 sections, and once again is connected with mini ball joints. And this is pretty standard for dragons, but there's a good range of motion here. Poses you can get to definitely convey some personality, like he's a dog or a cat, but it also isn't anything too crazy. Riyu has a dark blue belly on the underside, and this is something I actually really like, because every now and then we do get LEGO sets where they don't really think about the underside and the undersides are really ugly, and that's not inherently a bad thing. Like, it's fine to forget about the underside sometimes, but this keeps Riyu feeling very complete. It makes him feel more like a character than a build, which I think is very important for a set like this. Ryu's back does use this new armor piece that was introduced in the January wave, though this is an all-new exclusive color in this set, sand blue, and I think it does a perfect job to represent his scales. He does maybe have a rounder shape to his body than his baby version, but I think that's fine. His body's gonna look a little different as he gets older, and it's neat to see this part in a different context that isn't just armor. Then of course there's like a brown saddle, or maybe that's even a collar at the front, and then a studs for a minifigure to sit on, and there's 2 sets of 4 studs right here, so you can have both Arin and Sora on Riyu. And then the wings might look like new pieces to you, but they're actually not. Once again, they're from January. They're the same wing pieces used in the gimmick sets. However, in the gimmick sets, those were dual molded into both gold and a transparent color. These are just completely solid sand blue. He does have little claws coming off the end of the wings though, which is another new development from the baby version. The baby version did not have that, but I don't mind that. I think it fits in well. But yeah, as I mentioned, because everything's so light, there's a ton of personality you can get out of this build, and I think that's so important that that's there. As I said, Riyu is a character. He's more than just a dragon. Capturing his personality and making him feel organic was probably the most important part of this set, and I think they did a great job at that. Now, I would love to say that this is a perfect set without flaws. However, there's 2 things that I'm not the biggest fan of. One I don't think's the biggest deal. The other one's maybe more of a big deal. Starting with the one that's not so big of a deal, on the back right here, there's a little bit of a gap with that armor piece. And I get that's just how the piece was designed, but I really wish that was more smoothly integrated, that you couldn't see that gap right there. Because yeah, it just makes his body feel a little less organic, because that's just not what a dragon's body would look like. You can see some of the colors that they used to build the inside there too. Luckily the colors aren't that bad. It's bright orange and brown, which are colors used like on the exterior of the build. So it's like far from the worst example of a gap I've seen in a LEGO set, but still I think that would certainly look better if that was one smooth thing, and that gap just wasn't there. But my biggest criticism of this set is with the Riyu headpiece. When we look at it like this, I think it looks awesome. He's confident, he's happy, he's adorable. This is the Riyu I know and love, just a little bit older. But as I've been saying in this review, Riyu is a character, he's more than just a build, so the posability is really important to me. And yeah, there is a good range of motion here, it just doesn't look good from every angle. Because if we try to angle his head up, suddenly we see the underside of his head, and I think this looks terrible. It's just completely open from the underside, almost like Ryu's head is a mask, and I think that does genuinely really hurt the immersion of this build. Now there's other LEGO pieces that do things like this, and I think having an open section isn't bad. Like if the back of the head was open, I wouldn't mind so much, because it's covered up by most of the build. But like posing him with his head angled up is not like an uncommon thing to do, and actually the camera's looking top down right now. If I change it so the camera's looking straight on, yeah, that just doesn't look the best. So I really wish there was more plastic right here to give him a proper bottom jaw, and it's unfortunate that there isn't. I'd be curious to see if anyone can make a brick bolt version that like doesn't change the overall look of this build, but just fills in that gap, because that is honestly the biggest negative I have to discuss with this set. If that bottom part was covered up, I would say this is near perfect, but because it's not, you gotta be more careful with how you pose this and how you display it, because if you want to keep Riyu looking organic and fun, you gotta make sure you're posing the head in a way where he's either looking down or looking straight, and if you're displaying this guy on a shelf, you want him to be at or below eye line, because of course if you have him sitting on a high shelf, things start to look a little bit funny. I don't think this ruins the set by any means, because there's so many ways to pose this guy that's just awesome that makes me genuinely love this set. I think it's a ton of fun to pose and move around, and this is the perfect size. And for kids especially, I'm so happy this set's on the market. Like, I could see this being a bestseller, genuinely. I just do really wish the underside of that chin was covered up, because I do think that's a pretty big deal. And finally, one last thing before I move on to the minifigures. I always get people asking me to put the dragons in the mom I threw up pose, so here's that for Riyu, and this is just so funny. He might be one of the silliest ones. Now coming to the minifigures, here are the first two in this set. We of course have the new Dragons Rising ninja, Arin and Sora. Once again, just like the January wave, they unfortunately do not have new ninja suits. This is unfortunate because all of the original ninja got all new climbing suits for this wave, and it would have been nice to see them for these two as well. That being said, this is the complete version of these two figures, and they are the main characters of the new show, and they were actually somewhat expensive to get in the first wave. The cheapest way to get both of them was $48, so I think having a $16 set where kids could pick up both new characters is amazing. So it doesn't bother me as much here that they don't have new suits. And plus, even though there's no new suits here, Sora does have a new piece, which we'll take a look at in a moment. But first, let's talk about Arin. First, Arin's accessory is actually new for this wave, and that's the all-new climbing hook piece. The ninja are climbing this wave. As I said, the main ninja suits are climbing suits, so this piece does come in quite a few sets this wave. And yeah, it's got sort of like the dragon hilt design at the top, this sort of cross pattern on the hilt that we've seen on many weapons before, and then a little hook hanging off, so that way you can imagine the ninja like latching onto something or sliding along something. Definitely very cool new part. It's not super uncommon. It does come in a lot of sets this wave, but I believe this is the cheapest way to get it, and it definitely wasn't needed here, so I like it. And then the rest of Arin's ninja suit I, of course, have talked about before, but once again, it is still good. I think bright orange is a very fun color. Not the biggest fan of the green belt on him. I like green in theory, because of course it matches Lloyd, and Arin's a very big fan of Lloyd, but I think dark green probably would have worked better here. He's of course got the Dragon's Rising armor piece, which holds a katana around the back, and if we take the armor piece off, there's a full look at his back torso print. You can see there's this dragon tail that swirls up, and it spells out his name in jargon that just says Arin. And from the front, with the armor removed, you can see his ninja suit is actually just a hoodie, but the armor actually covers up the top of the hoodie, and I think that's such a fun design choice. With that armor piece, it looks really cool to swap between them, and I think the normal orange detailing on top of the bright orange pieces just looks great. Arin does have a really cool design all around. Still sticking with the same face print, so no, he still does not have a double-sided face. Unfortunate, would have been nice to see, but I wasn't really expecting one. So yeah, I'm quite happy to have this guy in such an affordable set, and he is a really good minifigure, even if he's not new. But now we come to what might be the most exciting part of this set. I don't know, Riyu himself's really cool, but that is the all-new Sora hairpiece. Because of course, in previous sets, she either had her hood on, or another hairpiece that just didn't really match her appearance in the show at all. But nope, this is an all-new hairpiece for this set, and as of right now, it's exclusive to this set. And I'm gonna stop talking and just give you a 360 spin so you can see it all. It's dual molded in coral and dark blue, and she's of course got her cat headphones on just like she has in the show. And I have to say, I do quite like this hairpiece. Now, it isn't one-to-one with the show. For example, in the show, the inside of the cat ears are pink just like her hair. And the actual design of her hair is a little bit different in the show compared to the hairpiece, but I have to say, it's a lot better here than I was expecting. From initial images of this, I was excited to get a new hairpiece for Sora, but it looked a little flat against her head and it just felt like it didn't fit her the best. It was better than what we had previously, but it still didn't look perfect. But I could say now, having this in hand, the renders do not do it justice. This is very clearly Sora's hair to me. It doesn't feel like it was redesigned for the set. I know it isn't one-to-one the same, but it kind of reminds me of Kai's original hairstyle. Like, that looks different in the show and in the sets, but the set version was a good enough representation, and I think that's very much the case here too. Something I'm not the biggest fan of is she has a hairband around the back to hold her ponytail together, but that's not printed or anything, it's just the same color as her hair. Would have been nice if they included some sort of print there, but it's not the biggest deal in the world. And if you want to see the hairpiece from the top, there you go. That's how that looks. But then the rest of the minifigure is just her outfit from Season 1. And just like Arin, I'm happy this figure's available for cheap. And she does have a really cool design. For one, she has arm printing, which it's amazing to get that in such a cheap set, with like that Imperium golden armor on it. But then with the rest of her suit, she's like a street racer, but she's also got a cat aesthetic. My favorite detail's always been the fact that her belt is actually a seat belt. And here's how she looks with the armor piece removed. There you can see her full torso print, as well as her back torso print with that little cat face. Ninjago letter S right there for Sora. And now you can see how her full face print looks with her hairpiece. And that does honestly work really well. There's a full look of the face print with the hairpiece removed. And there's her alternate face where she's smiling and her eyes are powering up because she's using her elemental power. Here's that side with the hairpiece too. Yeah, this is genuinely great. The Sora minifigure finally feels complete. I'm glad it didn't take too long to get this. Having her unmasked looks so much better now. And then the final minifigure in this set is a Wolf Mask Warrior, and these are the same villains from the January wave, and they are really cool. Now, I have reviewed them many times already because they did come in the January wave of sets, so I won't spend too long here, but in short, they're fantastic. I love how the mask piece has like inset eyes so you have a full face print underneath, and those blue teeth are really striking. Then the actual color choice for the torso and the legs is amazing. That like brighter blue color fits perfectly with the purple and the dark blue. These are probably some of the coolest looking generic Ninjago villains ever. They've got that sort of wolf, moon, Ouroboros symbol on the back, which is the symbol for all the enemies of this wave. And then if we take the mask piece off, you can see there's actually a double-sided head. They are just standard yellow skin minifigures, but they've got like this metal mask and metal crown. And one side they just have standard Lego eyes, and on the other side their eyes have turned blue and their teeth have turned blue. And I assume that's meant to be them powering up, just like we saw in the trailers for Ninjago Dragons Rising Season 2. Honestly, I think this set would be good even without the villain. I think just Arin, Sora, and Riyu is plenty, but having the villain in here just seals the deal, makes this a fantastic package. So overall, what are my thoughts on this set? Well, one thing we haven't touched on yet is the price, and I think the price on this is perfectly fine. I won't claim this is an amazing price for a set, right? Like, if this was $10, I'd be like, this is a must-have, everybody get it. But $16 is pretty solid. It's like a decent-sized build for Riyu that's about what I expect a $15, $16 set to be, and I think the minifigures do round out the value. Because even though aside from Sora's hairpiece, nothing on the minifigures here is new, these are all very high-quality minifigures, and characters that I'm sure a lot of people will want to get. And yeah, Sora's hairpiece especially is really good. So do I recommend you guys pick this set up? Honestly, yeah, if you're a Ninjago Dragons Rising fan specifically, I see no reason not to get this set. It's the next stage for Riyu, and Riyu is a very important character to the show, and they did a great job of translating him into set form. As you heard me discuss, I'm not the biggest fan of the underside of the jaw. That is disappointing to me, and I wish that was better, but that is my only critique of this set, and I don't think it ruins the set. It is just something to be aware of. But yeah, for $16, 3 minifigures, and a super cute Riyu build, this is one I'm very happy with. Honestly, this is going to be one of those sets that I just leave on my desk, and I'll fool around with like while I'm doing schoolwork or whatever. The most important things are that it looks good most of the time, and they captured Ryu's personality, and there's tons of poses you can get him in. I do genuinely think this is a quite good one. But of course, those are just my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think of this set in the comments below. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, make sure to let me know in the comments which March 2024 Ninjago set you want to see an early review on next. But as for this video, I think that's about all I have to say, so thanks for watching everybody. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, make sure to leave a like on this video and subscribe to my channel if you're new, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye!